Welcome everyone. In our discussion about the homeostatic system or the components of the homeostatic system, we noted that we have receptors. So in that discussion, we said that when you have changes within the internal or external environment, that change is basically what we refer to as a stimuli. That change that can evoke a response. That response is coming because of certain cells that we call sensory cells that pick up these stimuli and then send impulses to the brain for interpretation, and then the brain basically responds by sending information to effectors that can effect the action or the appropriate response. So in this presentation, we are basically building on that kind of line where we are saying that we have cells that pick information, and that information is sent to the brain, and then the brain integrates that information and also stores part of it, and then sends other impulses to be able to make different cells or different organs or tissues or glands or muscles to basically respond. So in this discussion, we want to see these sensory receptors. Okay, how do they detect that there is a change, and how do they interpret that change, and then how do they convey that information? So how do we turn the stimuli into electrical impulses and then being sent to the brain? That's what we are going to look at. Generally, we use the word receptors to talk about cells that can convert stimulus energy into electrical signals, and these electrical signals are basically the impulses, what we can call electrical impulses. We can also call them nerve impulses. We can also call them action potentials. Okay, so they have that unique property that if they are stimulated, they convert that to electrical impulses. So what causes these receptors to basically act or to produce these electrical impulses are the stimuli. The stimuli can be pain, okay? It can be pain, it can be touch, it can be chemicals, it can be pressure, it can be anything that you basically can feel, or that these receptors can pick even without your conscious awareness. Okay, so for example, light that enters into your eye, the photoreceptors are the ones that actually deal with that. Okay, so that means that the sensory receptors are always available to be able to pick up information from the environment. That environment can be internal or external. So the external environment are the things that can happen around you that your body recognizes. Okay, when it is cold, your body will know that you're actually feeling cold. Okay, and then you see that the skin hair will rise up to trap moisture such that heat loss is prevented. Then you have issues like the blood vessels that are on the surface of the skin that are closer to the surface of the skin actually constrict such that there is no heat that is lost. All these are responses that can happen because of changes within the external environment. But also what we call the core body temperature, which is basically internal. That also results into physiological actions or physiological changes to make sure that the body temperature or the core body temperature also increases. Okay, so we have changes that are internal and changes that are external. The changes that are internal are about many things. It can be, for example, when you have an increase in blood glucose levels. That is an internal change. You have a situation where certain ions are not at their normal levels. Okay, maybe it is calcium, maybe it is potassium, whether it is sodium ions. If they are not at the appropriate level, different mechanisms will happen. If you don't have enough fluid, okay, for example, of course, if your body is dehydrated, you need more water. So you have action that will be taken around the kidneys to make sure that water is reabsorbed and you don't pass that water out through urine. You will have, of course, you will feel thirsty and you will want to drink water. All these changes that are happening are internal, okay? And therefore, the body needs to respond to these changes, okay? But the overall thing is that the receptors sense that there is a situation that needs to be dealt with. So it picks up this information about that situation and then sends information to the brain or the central nervous system, as we are calling it here. This image here is basically showing you, for example, we can assume that this the stimulus can be a chemical. That chemical binds to the receptor. So this is a receptor. So when you have this binding happening, then you'll have an electrical impulse, which is the information. And this information in the form of electrical impulses is actually sent to the brain for interpretation. What we want to emphasize here is that the stimulus, which in this case we are saying it is basically chemical, but of course you can have stimulus of stimuli of different kinds. Okay, so what I want to emphasize here is the shape of the receptor. The receptor has a shape that is similar to this the chemical stimulus that will act on it. So, for example,